Liberty Belle, our country's most recently restored World War II Boeing B-17. We'll be taking to the skies here in Sanford this weekend. But today's Monday, the Herald was invited out here, and they took us up for a preview of what you're going to see this weekend. The Liberty Belle is one of only 14 flying B-17s left in the world today. Built in 1945 for World War II, it never saw combat because the Americans felt the war was in hand by then, so it was sold for scrap a few years later. After several years of sitting in dusty garages and after a handful of transactions, it eventually fell into the hands of the Liberty Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving aviation history. Today, the Liberty Belle tours all 50 states, acting as a museum on wings.
When the airplane starts up, there is a visceral feel and sensation that transpires with this airplane. And like all the existing flying B-17s we have in the United States, it is not a combat veteran. It's painted to replicate a combat veteran. There are no combat flying B-17s in existence. They were all smelted after the war. And part of the reason of that is, by January of 1945, we were winning the war, particularly in Europe. So they started taking all the new war material and immediately, in the case of airplanes, flying it into storage. And these airplanes were flown to storage depots. So by 1947, the government decided to sell 37 B-17s. And you and I show up at Kingman, Arizona to buy a 17, and which one do you want? The brand new one that never saw combat, or the combat veteran that was all full of holes and patched up? So everybody took a new airplane, as we would probably as well. Hindsight's always 20/20. But that's why the airplanes that exist today were the newer airplanes that were not combat veterans.
One combat veteran who was on hand Monday was 91-year-old Sanford resident and World War II veteran Clay Wilson, who flew 12 successful missions on a B-17 before being shot down over France in 1943.
Out over France. And 7 of my crew were killed out of 10. 3 of us got out. Wounded, not too bad. My radio operator, this leg was almost shot off. Bombardier wasn't injured, he got out. But I was fortunate that I got in with the French underground. I wasn't captured. They tried to get me out my high-speed boat one night, missed navigation. Tried to get me to Switzerland, where I was then interned for the rest of the war. And the ones we were going to contact in Paris were caught before we got there. Even rode to Paris, German soldiers in it. Of course, I was dressed as a Frenchman, with the beret on and act as a deaf mute.
Wilson joined the media Monday for 2 flights aboard the Liberty Belle from the Sanford-Lee County Regional Airport. Standing behind the pilots the whole time, Wilson reminisced on the good times he had while in the Air Force and looked on in wonder as the B-17 flew over Jordan Lake and parts of Lee and Chatham counties. For a fee, the public can take part in these flights at the airport this weekend from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. After 4, the public can take free ground tours of the plane, and more information on these flights and these tours can be found at our website, sanfordherald.com.